Good evening. Can everyone hear me? Okay, good. Welcome. Welcome to Old School Square Vintage Gym, our 1926 actual gymnasium from Delray High School, the home of the Big D, our Seahawks. So if that's what this is up here, the emblem is I've coined that. That's actually what they used to call their mascot. Is actually their high school is the Big D. So here we are in Delray, and I'm Laura Simon. I'm with the Downtown Development Authority. I'm the executive director, and I really am so happy to see everybody here tonight. It's beautiful to see our community out and about and together and happy. And I believe we're really happy because we had such amazing food from one of our restaurateurs, chef-owned restaurants in Delray Beach in downtown. Suzanne Perotto from Rose's Daughter, The Pantry, and Brûlée. Thank you for this beautiful spread, and thank you to our team for putting that together. So I wanted to give some recognition and introductions tonight first before we get on with our presentation. And tonight is about feedback and communication and really just listening. You know, tonight is about, we're going to share some things from the Downtown Development Authority as an organization and what we do, the why behind what we do, and really share with you all as constituents and stakeholders in the downtown more behind the scenes, and really also listen to you all as stakeholders too of what we can continue to do better. We have been in an organization since 1971 that has been always community driven by the community stakeholders that served on our boards, served on our committees, served on our different visioning pieces of the downtown master plan and other things that we have done. But it's really been about the community. So we just encourage everyone to continue to be here, be present, be part of the solution. So first and foremost, I want to welcome our, we have here tonight, we have some of our partners from the city. First recognizing from the city, we have some of our commissioners, Julie Casal and Tom Markert. You guys want to stand up, please? Thank you for being here. And I see our Assistant City Manager, Jeff Orris. And we also have from our fire department, we have our crew, Stephanie Craney, who is our behind-the-scenes event champion in safety emergency management. Actually, the whole table is really around emergency management. Christopher Bell from our emergency management, which is timely since there's like a tropical thing happening out in the ocean. So please be sure to see them because there's a lot we need to know and a lot of things they can share to make us safe in a lot of different ways. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for what you do for our community. And from our public safety team, I wanted to first give a shout out. I'm going to save the one thing for the next, but first a shout out to our yellow shirts, the Downtown Safety Ambassadors, who are all here. I'm going to recognize them because some of them have to get back to work. So but our team, they're our crew that is working very closely with our public safety team from the police department and the fire department and our code team in the downtown to really be an extra layer of touch points for public safety, quality of life issues, and really a hospitality approach to our policing. And I really just appreciate them. They've been here since 2018. We started with a pilot program under the leadership of and the foresight from our sergeant of the Clean and Safe Department, which is now our interim chief of the police department, Daryl Hunter, which I'm going to ask to come up and say a few words. But I also want to recognize our assistant chief who's here also, Assistant Chief Stevens, who's been part of this solution as well, and a partnership. And we couldn't be as successful in the downtown without you and that partnership. So, Daryl, do you want to come up and say a couple words? I'm giving him the floor because he's He's the newest of the addition, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. It is truly an honor and a pleasure for me to be here this evening with you all. I hold this position near and dear to my heart. I've been here 19 years, and I've always been my prayer, and it's always been my belief that one day I'll have an opportunity to be able to give you all a return on your investment with all that you've invested into me. So thank you for my commission, City Manager Moore, Assistant City Manager Mr. Orris, for giving me an opportunity. Again, I had an opportunity to work in the DDA footprint as a sergeant, and it was one of the most remarkable things that I've had in my whole career. A lot of you all I know, being able to watch you all as they grow. Our ambassadors, I never forget when we started talking about it with Mrs. Simon and the previous boards before that. And again, one of the goals for mine as interim chief, and hopefully to be your permanent chief, is to make Delray the safest city in America. It is. We can clap. Yeah. And I truly believe in that. And Assistant Chief Stevenson and we worked together, and basically what we put on was a series of community engagements, which I like to call touching all four corners of Delray Beach, sharing our trajectory with regards to what we plan on doing as a department and working with our community to help make that happen. And I truly believe that we can do it. I've always said before that if you're not coming to Delray to enjoy our beautiful award-winning beach, right? We can clap for that too. Our live and vibrant downtown area. Yeah. Our eateries and shops that we have, world-class as well. And to visit our friends and family. If you're not coming for any of those reasons, then you're going to have some issues, because I want my residents to feel safe. I want their businesses to feel safe. I want their employees to feel safe. And that's our number one job, is to make sure that we ensure safety for our city. There is no other city like ours, and I am truly, truly proud to be here and to stand before you as the interim chief for the Delray Beach Police Department, because I believe all of us working together, we can make that goal happen. And I truly believe that as we continue to go on our series of community engagements and sharing what that is and how that's going to help impact our whole city as a whole, it's going to be something for you all to be proud of, because I've always said, to whom much is given, much is required. And I take this job seriously, and my residents alike. So again, thank you for the opportunity to come to speak to you this evening. And again, I honor you guys. I appreciate you guys. And we're going to work hard for you to make that happen and making Delray the safest city in America. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So now I'm going to really turn it over and to really share behind the scenes of the DDA and introduce our team. I want to start actually with our team players. So I have the pleasure of working with beautiful people and that make this job an amazing place to be. Suzanne Boyd is our Director of Marketing. We have our team in the back here. We have Daniel Morian, who's our Business Development Manager. We have Emily Oliveras, Social Media Marketing Coordinator. Next to Danielle, we have Alex McCoy, recently married. Victoria DeSilvio. Both Alex and Victoria are working on behalf of Old School Square, so that's part of our division. And then we also over here, you met Liliana Fino, who's our Operations Manager, and Shelly Licasar, who's our Volunteer and Visitor Information Coordinator extraordinaire for our Visitor Information Center. And then we also have, as part of our team, we have a lot of different friendly faces. So Mavis Benson is actually our past board chair and Merchant Association chair, and now really helping us to help walk and get out and meet and greet and be more on the front end on some certain things that we're working on now. So with that, we cannot do this alone. We need some guidance, which we have Quentin Morgan, who's here from our legal counsel, who's standing for a reason. No, just kidding. Quentin's with us to help us guide our team and our board through navigating through our public duty and service. And with that, we also, as a Downtown Development Authority and a special taxing authority, we are governed by a volunteer board who's appointed by our city commission. And we have a few of our board members here tonight. We have Jewel Ghilardi, Zellman. We also have Brian Rosen right here, who's our vice chair. We also have Dr. Al Costello, who is our board chair. He's actually serving in his third term, so that's a long time with so they're 3-year terms. And then we have a new appointee, Anthony Barber, who just was appointed last night. So welcome to the Downtown Development Authority. And that is so that we also are missing tonight, we're missing Jim Knight, who also serves on our board, as well as Cole Devitt. Cole Devitt is actually on vacation, so we are missing a few board members, but we're actually now, I'm glad at least we're to 7 board members full for and our next board meeting is Monday, so we invite you all to attend that. So tonight we wanted to just get ready and kind of go through a few things, but first I wanted to give Al a chance to say a few just brief comments, and then we're going to turn it over. We're going to show a brief video and get into some presentations. Al?
Thank you. I don't do this well, you know that. Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Costello. I own Big Al Steaks on Atlantic Avenue, and I'm chair of the DDA. Thanks. No. I don't know how to handle that. I'm not used to that. I actually, as Laura said, I've been on the board multiple times. 10 years ago I was on, and I was on for 7 years, and that was when the DDA did not have anything to do with the Old School Square. But the Old School Square campus was closed, and for a year or two it stayed dark. And so I am kind of responsible for most of lobbying Laura and her team to get them to accept the idea that maybe the DDA could recreate the Old School Square and bring it back. Yeah. And after that, I was kind of responsible. After they said yeah, I was responsible for getting the city to kind of say yes to. So as we negotiated and developed a relationship with the city for the Old School Square, I was unhappy with the business plan. I was happy with the way things were going. And so I bowed out of the DDA and let the DDA run on its own. But lo and behold, Laura made an amazing business plan and over the years built an amazing campus operation that we all know and love now. She rebuilt the Museum of Art. She has the most amazing events on the weekends. I'm not going to go into it because we all know about it. But she's got international downtown acclaim and awards for what she's done and for what the team's done in the Old School Square. It's amazing. I came back because I'm so proud to be part of this. And I'm also not a great speaker, as you can tell. But I've watched the DDA do world-class marketing, both international and national. I've watched the team grow to be amazing with social media that rivals any other organization. And I am so proud to be here today with the team and hope that you all take advantage of this town hall to really learn what we do and understand how amazing they are and all the things we've achieved. And if it ever, what I always say to everyone, and this is the last thing I'll bore you with, anytime I drive downtown at night, and I drive down Atlantic Avenue, which is a boulevard lit up with poles that are wrapped and trees that are wrapped and flags and signage, all of that is the DDA. It's how they spend your funds. It's what they do to make this town and the business community enhanced and amazing and wonderful. And I thank you for what you've done for me. So thank you.
Thank you, Al. Thank you for your leadership. And I'm going to take that cue because it does take a team, and I also want to recognize our Cornell Museum team who's here. We have Pam and Gabby that are here, and we also have several volunteers that are present as well. We have lots of volunteers for our organization, I think over 50 plus, that are also here present and working with us. And I do also want to recognize our partners. We have the Chamber of Commerce and the CRA that are both here tonight and have been tremendous partners over the past 54 years of the Downtown Development Authority. Actually, we were started from the Chamber of Commerce and been working really closely with the CRA, which we all work really tirelessly together in this town, united to making things a better place for all. So. Also, I do see, and I want to recognize Albert Richwagon because he's looking at me, but he a past board member of the Downtown Development Authority. So thank you, Albert, for being here and your input. So without further ado, anything else that I missed? And we want to kick off our presentation. I'm going to introduce Suzanne to kind of jump in and introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. So I came to Delray, 27 years ago. I came here for a job. Not a man. I said I was moving here for a job, not a man. But when I moved here, I did move in with a man who I was dating at the time, who eventually became my ex-husband. And he was working in Boca, right? And I was working in West Palm. And he convinced me that Delray was halfway between Boca and West Palm. And that is how I ended up in Delray Beach. And I've never left because I love this city so much. I am so passionate about Delray Beach. I've been passionate for 27 years since I've lived here. I love this city. And I've seen the transformation. I've seen it evolve. And, guess what, folks? We've arrived. Everyone knows about Delray. Everyone wants to be in Delray. And, a lot of that reason is because of the Downtown Development Authority and the work of the DDA. So what does the DDA do? I mean, what do we actually do? Well, we have a video for that. So turn your attention to the screen. Welcome to downtown Delray Beach, a vibrant, walkable village by the sea, a place where history meets charm and the community thrives. But downtown Delray didn't happen by accident. It was shaped by vision, by business and property owners who cared deeply about preserving its charm and bringing new life to its streets. Formed by those very stakeholders, the Delray Beach Downtown Development Authority was created to lead that transformation. And more than 50 years later, we're still doing just that.
I know you all don't like to pat yourself on the back and talk about what it is that you do. You like people to see it, but sometimes you need to spell it out for people.
Since 1971, the DDA has been working behind the scenes to create a thriving downtown district for residents, business owners, and visitors.
Our DDA is a big part of why we've stayed downtown, to have support, to have people brought here and people knowing about our business. I don't feel like you get that anywhere else in the world with the same level of support that we get here.
Created by state statute and funded through a special tax paid by property owners within the district, the DDA reinvests every dollar back into downtown Delray.
I think we see our dollars at work every single day, whether it is the ambassadors, the safety ambassadors, or you guys putting on events throughout the downtown area. You see your dollars at work.
And the DDA doesn't just throw events. We are strategic. Every event is meant to drive traffic, support local businesses, and increase the value of the downtown and beyond. Art and Jazz on the Avenue doesn't just bring music to the streets, it moves people through the streets, drawing foot traffic to Pineapple Grove, the Set, and Beachside. First Friday Art Walk drives art lovers directly into our galleries and studios, transforming passive interest into sales. Savor the Avenue and Restaurant Month are perfectly timed economic boosts, giving our restaurants momentum before and during the slow summer season. Shop Small and Mother's Day Orchid Giveaway are smart retail activations that pull shoppers into our local stores during key gift-giving moments. And finally, the Love Delray Feel Good Summer campaign was a strategic pivot, designed not only to drive traffic to our wellness businesses, fitness studios, and spas, but to position downtown Delray as a wellness destination.
Seeing everything taking place wellness activations has been phenomenal.
In 2023, downtown Delray Beach welcomed more than 3.5 million visitors. That surge in foot traffic translated into real economic benefit, boosting revenues, increasing property values, reinforcing Delray's position as one of South Florida's most desirable places to live, work, and play.
We've lived in downtown Delray Beach since 2017.
And there are very few walkable communities in Florida in general. And Delray Beach, definitely living downtown, is one of them where you can walk everywhere. You can walk to restaurants, you can walk to the beach, you can walk to markets. Everything is close by.
You know, it's clean, it feels safe.
When people are looking at the value of my house and the value of living in Delray and the value of living in our community, all of these events that we have downtown contribute to their thinking. So it's critical to not just the downtown development area. It's critical to all of Delray. If you've got Delray in your name right now, you are popular. You are where the cool kids are, and you are where people want to be.
The DDA also funds the Beachside Visitor Information Center and invests heavily in downtown safety, including a dedicated team of downtown safety ambassadors and much of the area's special lighting, from pole lights on West Atlantic to cafe lights in Pineapple Grove and the holiday displays throughout downtown. And yes, the DDA is funded by a tax, but many business owners and downtown property owners agree.
We feel that our DDA taxes are worth every cent.
It's a small amount of money for the amount of support and advocacy that we get from this team, and I think it is 100% worth every penny that we do pay as downtown businesses.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The amount of business that you guys bring into the area and all the hard work that I see, I think it should be a little more.
So the next time you're strolling down Atlantic Avenue, know that the DDA is working for you, for business owners, and for the heart of our community.
Okay, so that's what the DDA does. Well done.
So we are a taxing authority. I know a lot of you want to see the numbers, right? And so tonight we're going to go through the numbers. If you own property in downtown, if you live in downtown, if you own a business in downtown, you are likely paying the DDA tax. So where are those dollars going? How does it impact you? We wanted to kind of get granular tonight and go through those numbers. So
what the next steps are? So once we're going to go through the presentation, and then all are strategically placed in your locations, because we'll be going through some really finding solutions. So as we go through the presentation, and how we want to hear really how we can plan and implement based on feedback. So think about that as we go through this presentation, and what we can learn from you all to help guide us and partners in the community to be really better stewards of the money. So with that, we have this map here is the Downtown Development Authority District. So our district runs from 95 all the way to A1A, really to the high tide mark. So from west to east, and then in the core, which was the original part of the original downtown, it runs on the north side from Atlantic Avenue all the way to 4th Street. And where these boundaries are and these lines are is because when the boundaries were voted, when people, actually the property owners voted to be taxed, it was commercial. This was the central business district, and as the central business district expanded and the DDA expanded twice, they actually had to go to the polls to vote to be taxed. So it was a choice, and some of those areas were carved out because they chose not to. So it was really intentional of how this was evolved. And on the south side, keeping the residential at the time out of the Downtown Development Authority district. So what we do
Yeah, and so these are really the buckets, right? And this is kind of like each of the tables have a different topic, and each of those topics is in one of these buckets. But basically, what we do and what you'll see in the budget is we have numbers associated with each of these buckets. Placemaking is the beautification of the place, right? So it's the lighting, it's the banners, it's the safety ambassadors. Mm-hmm. You have economic development, and as you saw in the video, our events are economic development drivers, and so our events are part of our economic development operation.
Yeah. So events and programs or activations all done intentionally with feedback and planning. So in 2006, we did a market study. What events, when we wanted to bring new retail or more retail and things were changing, the downtown master plan was evolved. How do we bring and drive and actually highlight our different business owners and small business owners that are here? So it highlighted what people were looking for: art, music, dining, retail, higher end retail, and how the whole district worked together. And that's how we decided to really focus on, or was really recommended to focus on certain retail categories like dining scene. So creating events like Savor the Avenue or Tastemakers, which was a tasting event that made people travel through the streets and explore and guide art walks and gallery walks, and really going into the properties or into the businesses to actually meet them. Or if you're coming down for an event and then you look around and wow, like it looks different when it's in an event space. So, but it's really meant to really drive back awareness so that if you're coming for the events, it's great you're there. However, you might come back later and shop and then maybe open up a business there, or maybe take a job running a business in the place. So they're really intentional and they were really strategically done. So the other piece of our organization, while we started for decades, the first 3 decades of our organization was really around the place, getting the parking. There wasn't parking. Zoning had changed. We started out of a parking need and acquiring the parking parcels. All public parking lots, except for the parking decks, were done through the Downtown Development Authority, working with the property owners to assemble them, working with the city, and just really guiding, making parking for customers and employees through these lots: the railroad lot, the Gladiola lot, the village lot, what is now Worthing Place. That was actually a city-owned parking lot. It was a park, and the Green Market was there, and it was a parking lot all the way to First Street. Remember that? So part of this, our organization started in that way, and then as we grew along the way and with the city grew, we turned things over back to the city for them to manage. So now and our budget is a lot smaller than our partner budgets. So what can we do? And that's when our joint venture evolved, and the Downtown Development Authority said, we need to create things and bring people downtown. The downtown looks beautiful. We did the streetscapes, but what can we do now? So we got to get people here. The malls were going on all around us, but nobody was here. So we started doing events. We had balloon festivals, art and jazz, all these different things, brought them downtown. And now we continue those things along the way or reimagine them just to continue to, again, bring that awareness and really drive what's happening here. So marketing was what our group continued to focus on with what we could do, and work closely with our partners at the Chamber, the CRA, and the city to really create that collective, collaborative effort to really focus on really making downtown shine. All right, so let's get into this. So we are, as a government agency, our fiscal year starts October 1. So we're in budget planning, just as the city is. We work really close with our city, and our budget is really driven by our board's direction and based on our focus areas. So these are where we've met. We've had workshops starting in May and June, and really helping us guide some new opportunities going into the year based on some feedback and need that we see from different stakeholders. So one of our highlights here, our big, is a strategic plan. So we need a plan to guide this downtown. Downtown changing, Delray's changing, Downtown Development Authority is changing. We need a plan to guide us to the next level. So that's our big focus, and that involves community engagement. So constituent engagement is going to be essential to help guide our organization for the next 10 years. And then the other areas are obviously parking, and these are where you're going to come in to help us be better at these elements as we move forward. So now we're going to jump into the numbers. This is a high level. Monday at 12 noon at City Hall, we're having a full detailed budget overview. You all are welcome to come in there as well or watch online. And I have the detailed financials here. If you want to know in specifics, I can share that with you. But as we go into this year, the estimates from the county, which we get all of our estimates based on the properties in the downtown district, is based on the value of the properties, both residential and commercial. Our district is made up of residential and commercial. However, the commercial properties are obviously paying a larger amount, almost 2/3 of the amount of the $2 million, because this is on the value of a $2.1 billion value. Fun fact, I started in 2010, and the value of our downtown was $400 million. So we've come a long way since 2010, and we broke it down here to share. So this is, as Suzanne said, we break our budget into these 4 categories based on programming, and we have given you our current budget. So we're running at a $1.9 million this year, and looking to assess into our spend. So these are all expenses, breaking out our placemaking, economic development, marketing, and operations. So now we'll break it down a little further in the next slide.
And just to clarify, this is not a raise in taxes. This is a raise in property values. Yes. So property values are rising, and that is why our budget has gone up.
Right. So what our organization assesses is a 1 mil. So that's the 1% on the property value that's our cap based on our state statute. And that has been consistent for the past 15 years or more, actually longer. So expenses in our marketing elements. So here, this is our breakdown in categories. So website, we are launching a brand new website that was in this year's current fiscal budget. But this is numbers that will be for maintaining its future. Our downtowndelraybeach.com is our website, and it is probably the most highest visible website. If you're, as a business owner, you're on that. As you're a visitor, you're going to that. It's very visit and customer focused. It's not a DDA focused website at all. It will tell more of our story this year. However, it is really about what happens in downtown. Events are actually economic vitality or economic development. So this category is really about the business development and business and really the vibrancy and the energy, and really focusing on how these costs are associated with really programming and events, data collection, data management. We have visitor traffic management. Strategic plan will be in here. We have a grant, which is our placemaking and activation grant platform. So we do provide funding back for any murals, beautification, paint-ups. That is in there as well. And business development, which is, and if you're a new business or current business and need help, assistance, and guidance through the channels of City Hall, or a resident who are trying to do something and need support, that's what we're here for. But one thing with this also is the human resources time. And probably the biggest engine of the largest engine of our organization, because it is about the economic development and the economic impact for the downtown of our organization. Through that, we now move into the placemaking, which is really all about the place. Placemaking is a place management term, or a term that's used with organizations that are business improvement districts or other downtown organizations. But it's really about the place, about the creating that ambiance or that quality of life where all of the areas of such as the amenities, the lighting, the streetscapes, the beautification and navigation of our town through parking, guidance through signage, and And our organization also through public safety, as you heard from our chief, Hunter, who was the sergeant. So in our downtown, we have a specialized police unit that is actually funded by the CRA. It's the Clean and Safe unit, but it is a specialized unit from the police team that is only in the downtown. They're different officers. They are both an Alpha and a Bravo unit. They are hospitality policing, and they're specialized just to be on patrol both daytime and nighttime in the downtown area. So working very closely with that team. And when Daryl was on as a sergeant, he was like, we have to do something. We are having a rise in overdoses. Things were happening in downtown. Other downtowns around us had these safety ambassadors, and he's like, we need to figure out this. And Laura, we both went to a conference, and he said, let's try it. Let's see what happens. And since then, we were able to implement it through our budget as a supplementary program for the downtown itself that works hand in hand with our police team, our social advocate, and really focusing on the quality of life issues such as panhandling, trespassing, sleeping in front of your business, things that we have, there's an underprivileged community that are unhoused, and our organization, working very closely with the city teams, have really helped to manage that and really done a really great job of working closely with our stakeholders to make sure that that is not a negative impact to the value of the downtown. Operations. So our team is small. We're small but mighty, and we've grown tremendously since I've been here. When I started in 2010, we were 1.5 people. So I was the half. And we've come a long way, and I'm really proud of what we do. But we work really hard for you. We love it. I love it personally, more than most, but just because I'm born and raised, I'm multi-generational, but it is a very important part of what we do here is to the service that we provide, being in front of the organization, in front of the business, out on the street, listening to you, trying to figure out ways to make it happen, working with our city partners, our city leaders, and all the different organizations to really make things happen. But we've come a long way, and like any organization, we have a lot still to do. So, next. So one thing that I didn't mention in this slide, in this presentation, is the Old School Square part of our organization. So while you see the placemaking, the economic development, the operations, and our marketing part of our organization, we also have a new responsibility that was put into our lap in partnership with the city. We are funded by the city separately. It's a separate, it's not part of the DDA tax, but it's a separate fund that comes to us to program and activate Old School Square, which is in the heart of our downtown, and it is a major economic driver for our community. And with that not being activated, or not having the Cornell Art Museum open with world-class exhibitions there, bringing people in that on Main and Main, not having that open was a detriment to our community and to our downtown. So it's very important that we keep that active and keep that activated and be strategic about that. It's your Old School Square, and what happens there is really vital to the ecosystem of our downtown community and to our city of Delray Beach. So we want to listen to that, and we are moving into that budget planning as well. This campus, this building, the Crest Theater building, celebrates its 100th anniversary, 25 and 26. It's a very significant centennial celebration, and it's brought and moved through and grown many, many people that still live here. Their families live here. Their children live here, and we need to tell that story, and we want to make it for the next 100 years. So it is a huge part of what we do, and our team has done an amazing job of really just keeping the place moving. So I didn't want to just oversee that, but really tonight is really about the Downtown Development Authority's fiscal budget and what we're talking and our planning for the fiscal year. If you have recommendations and feedback that you want to provide us on events around Old School Square or ideas, please bring that to our attention as well. So, Susan, can you turn it down?
So yeah, I just want to reiterate, the DDA budget is completely separate from the OSS budget. That's why we're not doing a separate OSS budget presentation. We will, however, be doing a separate budget presentation for Old School Square next Tuesday at the City Commission meeting if you would like to come and see, and that is a separate budget that's funded by the city. Okay, so now we're going to move into our solution stations. Okay, so we want to get your feedback. We want to get your direction on downtown, on the DDA. You know, you all are stakeholders here. You live here, you work here, you own property here. You know how this operation works, this downtown works. And so we want to hear from you about what's working, what's not working, what are your biggest challenges, what are your ideas to solve it. So when we sent out the invite to this town hall, part of that RSVP was a survey. And we asked, one of the questions was, what are your biggest challenges in downtown Delray? And you all came back with a bunch of challenges, but the top 5 were these: parking, events, charm and beautification, so keeping the charm and keeping the place beautiful, public safety, and cost and crowding. I do find it funny that the crowding table is the least crowded. So anyway, okay, so we have some questions and prompts on your table. The parking, because we had so many people talking about parking in this survey, we created 3 tables. And I did put specific questions for you guys on parking. For instance, one table is just giving us, you know, about the amount of parking. Another table is talking about the fees and the meter times. So if you can kind of talk through those specific topics and related to parking, in other words, employee parking, valet parking, and the private parking lot. So we do want to hear specifics about all of those parking issues. So what we're going to do is give you all 15 minutes. If you can maybe vote in one of your people at the table to be the leader, the person who's going to speak. So vote someone in as your head person that's going to speak up. We're going to give you 15 minutes to come up with your challenges and your solutions. And then we're going to, after that, hear from each table. Okay?
We have an open seat over here.
We have some seats over here if anyone needs a table. All right, your 15 minutes starts now.
Timing? Just put like a timer so that it's really loud.
It's good. We'll give them to...
It's not time to leave.
Okay, how's everyone doing? Do you guys need a couple more minutes? Yeah, a couple more minutes? Okay. I'll give you 5 more minutes. Okay, everyone. Is anyone ready to start? Okay, go ahead.
Because I wanted to see who's here, who's a resident, who's a business owner.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is everybody ready? No, you need a few more minutes. You ready? All right. So before we start, I wanted to do this, and I was reminded during the talking session, but I wanted to just, for all that took time to be here, I'd love to know, first of all, how many, or who, if you are a downtown business owner in our downtown district, can you stand up for me just so we can see how many business owners? Includes restaurant, office. If you work in an office in downtown, or you are from, so awesome. Chris, I don't see you standing. Well, okay. The camera shop is pretty much a staple of downtown. So, yeah, awesome. Hi, Chris. All right, so if you are a resident and you live in downtown, can you all stand up as well? Woo! All right. I think the residents. Fantastic. And those that care about downtown, you want to stand up too? That's everybody. Yay! Awesome. Awesome. Thank you all. It's good. It's good for us to see. So,
okay, that was called chair yoga. Good job, everyone. Okay, so Darian, are our mics ready to go? Okay, so I think we should start with parking, since that was the biggest. So who at one of the parking tables wants to go first? Okay, back here. All right, so maybe what you can do first is, first of all, I just want to tell you we budgeted about 4 minutes per table. So if you go a little long, it's fine, but, I think you can get it all in 4 minutes, right? So give us your challenges and then your solutions.
Okay, my name is Mike Conley. I am a resident in Pineapple Grove Village. We had a very vibrant, multiple conversations going on, so hopefully I captured everything that was discussed. But some of the challenges. Lack of parking when visiting specific locations, and sometimes the free parking is very far away, and it's not easy to walk there. And some of the private parking is so expensive. Somebody was saying they were coming in for doing some charity work, and the expense was crazy. Something about the increased issue if the railroad lot moves to metered parking. Sounded like that was something that was in the mix, but some people didn't know about it. So another thing, the Chico building is very limited with parking, and it's very hard to maneuver around some of the pylons and getting to them.
The what building?
The Chico building.
Oh, Chico's got it.
Obviously, in-season and big events make the parking challenge harder. Some of the solutions, more multi-level parking options, large garage off of 95, trolley, utilize and collaborate with some private parking, identify some similar cities that had addressed this issue and understand what they did to go about it. And then not an issue or a solution, but a question that came up was, where does the money go for the new businesses that pay into the parking fund or have to pay for the parking?
In-lieu parking fund.
They wanted to know where that money went.
I can answer that question because I like to answer questions. So the in-lieu parking fund was actually a fund that was started through the DDA that was put as a fund to come and to build and acquire and create new parking. Over the years, recently, we realized that, or found out that it went into the general fund over the past few years. So it's been put into the general fund, but recently the City Commission has now put it back into a separate fund that is dedicated for new parking. So, more to come on that. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're taking notes, too.
Yeah, we are taking notes. Thank you all, and we have this recorded as well. So, okay, so another parking table?
Okay, so The city parking meters are very confusing, especially to out-of-town guests. They're not willing to download the app. They have enough apps on their phone already. They're only here for a brief time. Number one, there's no overflow parking in December through April, which is badly needed. We need a trolley to loop around, and the trolley needs a loop from the parking lot across from the Plumosa School in that city-owned lot where the police training center is. It needs to loop around to the court property, not the courthouse, but the county property out on Congress Avenue. So that's two very large parking lots that could inflow people with a loop. We all miss the trolley, especially December through April. Every private parking lot in downtown is now a pay lot. There's no regulation. Some of them will charge $30, $40 for an hour of parking. It needs to be regulated. It needs to be controlled. It's a bad taste in the mouth of people who come to visit us. We need a golf cart parking area. Maybe we could get the sticker program that works at the beach to also work for golf cart parking. Make City Hall on weekends only golf cart parking for residents. All the residents have golf carts. They're green. They're great for downtown. They could park at the City Hall parking lot that would be cordoned off and only for stickered residential golf cart parking. Free parking off of the avenue. We need some free parking off the avenue. Residential golf cart parking. Okay, more bike racks. Yes, I'm going to toot my own horn. We need more bike racks, and we need safe parking. Oh, and the last one was to actually use some of the in lieu of money to build a parking garage. No more studies. We don't need any more studies. We need parking. Thank you.
Okay, parking table number 3.
Who's speaking?
Who's in charge? Come on, Cornelia.
Okay.
Well, I would say more employee parking for a lot of the staff and for restaurants. More employee parking or some kind of system so that whether they pay for like a discounted parking rate either for the month or something like that. I know it works well in West Palm because of a lot of our staff and our other locations have that discounted parking that they pay either for the month or for the year. So it's additional revenue. So even at a discounted rate, they can pay. They get a sticker or something like that so they can park in the garages. That'd be great for the staff. So.
Thank you. Okay, let's move to events.
One question.
Oh, sorry.
We
Yes.
have one more thing about the metered parking.
Yeah, so the metered parking, when the metered parking was introduced, it was never to be during the day. Anybody who's going to come to our downtown, visit our shops and businesses during the day, they should not be taxed with meters during the day, not before 3 or 4 o'clock. Now it's at 11 a.m. We're getting rid of our customers. You can go to every mall and park for free. Why can't they come to our mall and park for free?
Okay, events.
Hello. At this event table, we decided that we love all the events in Delray Beach, specifically the Delray Affair, Save the Avenue, and the weekly green markets that we have. Not one of us had anything bad to say about any events that we're holding in Delray on an annual basis. So events that we thought might be good ideas were a wine and food festival in the square. A lot of the cities in South Florida are doing them. I know Fort Lauderdale has one right down the street in Las Olas. We could do one in the square, so it's not linear. You can move around. Right. You know, themed booths, not just tables giving away wine and food, but something nice and decorative. And you don't have to close off any streets for that. South Beach Wine Food Festival. We all love that. So we could do that here in Delray, no problem. Maybe an event to raise awareness with persons with disabilities. Maybe an event in Old School Square centralized around children, with children's activities, bring families into the area. Some wholesome activities, arts and crafts, music activities and games, and maybe a small business day. also, with the children's activities, it could draw awareness to the museum that I never knew about. There's a museum over here?
The Cornell Art Museum.
Bring some families and children around and have a fun day in Old School Square and bring revenue to the area, shops, restaurants, etc. I get it all? All right.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Okay, let's go to the other events table.
Corey? It's like 100 people at this table. This is the overcrowded table.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Terry McDonough-Daunton, and I am born and raised here in Delray, and I can tell you this was a sleepy little town until they came along. And we're very thankful for them. Okay, so events. We also decided we liked all the events. There were a few that we could probably use a little work, and I don't know if you guys do it or not.
Okay.
But the art walk,
Okay.
we need a little bit of, like direction and where the art museum, art places are and everything. Art galleries, thank you.
Enhancements.
We need more stuff for kids. Let's bring back first night. Can we do that? Movie nights, those are always fun. We also talked about outside vendors at the concerts. We've got 2 restaurateurs here at our table. Guess who was talking about that? So we thought maybe coupons to kind of drive business before or after for a free drink or a free vegan sandwich or a sushi roll. Wine walk. We had wine walks for a while, right? Kind of goes hand in hand. And the kids thing, we talked about, I think I had my grandkids here last week and there was nothing to do. So I think something, more geared towards the kids. And my daughter lives in Atlanta, and they had one event that had all of, a police car, a fire engine, tractors, anything that was moving and made noise, and they just took over a huge, big spot, if you will. And the kids just went from place to place, and they met the police, they met the firemen, and they got to sit in the truck, and they got to do all that stuff. That's my 2 cents.
Good, okay. Kid stuff. Awesome.
Oh, and we want Crest Theater back.
Yeah, okay. The Crest Theater. There's a theater, too, right over there. Oh, nice.
You guys want to go next? Cost and crowding?
Who's the scope?
All right, cost and crowding. I think the first thing we kind of noticed is just the affordable rent for commercial tenants down the Ave. At least since we've been here since 2020, we see a lot of restaurants overturn. I don't know if you have any control over this, so just hear me out. But just some spaces, like the Buddha Bar in the corner, it's been 5 years, nothing's there. I don't know if there's something beyond here, but that's interesting to me. The spot right next to the Astor, next to Pure Life, I think there's American Social going in there, but that's been vacant for 5 years. And then, like I said, I think we had 4 or 5 overturns this year. I wouldn't be shocked if the same will be next year. So since we've been here the last 4 or 5 years, we see a lot of overturn. Sometimes can be concerning. Like I said, in some of these spots have just stayed vacant. So there's obviously some type of cost issue. Like I said, they're privately owned, I'm assuming, so I don't know how much I have to deal with that, but just something we've noticed. And then when that goes into the crowding, at least this is for us personally at the Astor, if an AMSO's going in there, it's a big-time bar. It's kind of like a tin roof, if you guys don't know, but it's like a tin roof. That spot's going to get hectic. And that road, these roads are at night, living in the Astor are already extremely hectic at night. There's traffic. It's a town. We call it a city, but it is a town. The roads are still a town. So especially where we are in the wintertime, you're locked in. Luckily, we can walk, so it doesn't really bother us. But if you did try to drive, you can't. I don't know what you do, but at least in Pineapple Grove, I kind of like that it's sleepier. So these new tenants can in like a big bar. I just don't see where you put the people personally. But other thing was the water. Someone else on our table has lived here for a while. The water's has been bad for 20 years. Dundon over on the west coast of Florida, they have, I'm not saying you could do this, but they have reverse osmosis for the whole town that's run through that. But they're still, speaking that she has a filter for her house, water's still yellow. So water has been an issue, obviously, for a long time. Other than that, it's just, I don't think, and then like permitting is extremely slow in general. I don't know if I think that's to the county, but it's really difficult. In like our building, there's people who wait, 4 to 6 months on permits. So that's probably a personal issue. And then I think that's kind of it. The bottom line is obviously this town's gotten more costly because it's everywhere everybody wants to be. So you kind of have to deal. I completely understand, and because you guys have done such a good job, it's gotten pricey. I don't know what else to say. That's kind of how it goes. But thank you.
Thank you. That's good. I did also, we have the assistant city manager here, but last night at the city commission meeting, they were giving updates on the water treatment plant. They're moving forward to replace the water treatment plant that they have now, and that is going in. So that'll impact the water, and they are working on some other water filtration systems that are current with the current system now. So that's taped. I don't know, Jeff, if you have any. No more, but they're going through the process, and there's just stay tuned. And that's good that came up as a comment, because those things that we can do as far as communication out to you, as using our tools that we have and accessibility, working with our partners, sharing what's important for you as residents that we hear that you might not be aware of, and if permits are issues, how do we help advocate through our city partners of like, these are issues that we're hearing. How can we help maybe find some ways to speed up the process or work through? And if there's something that's causing that, what can we do to help? So those are things that our team does assist with as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, and if the city commission meeting last night, they addressed the water in multiple different presentations last night, so it might be good to go back and watch the city commission meeting last night too, to see what they talked about with the water treatment plant and the testing of the water. It was very interesting. So. Okay.
Charm?
Yes.
Charm and beautification.
Charm and beautification.
Hi there. Jewel Goliardi-Zellman. I'm one of the board members for the DDA. And I want to actually just touch on something very quickly before we go on this. One of the things that I've been thinking about over and over and over again is this sort of, who are we, right? Who are we as Delray Beach? And, if we look around the country and we look at some of the best towns around that are the most successful with tourism, and they're beautiful, and they drive unbelievable dollars into the city because they implement, they make sure that the streets are gorgeous, that everything is looking a certain way, that there's a police force, that there are ambassadors, that there's all these things. Those are expensive towns. And those are towns that have high tax dollars because people are paying for the ability to be able to have the safety, the beautifulness, the activities, the festivals, and all of those things, and to make it just beautifully flow. So it's one of the things that we have to think about. Do we want to be one of those towns? And if we are, then we really can't complain that we have to pay a little bit for it, because we benefit from it every single day. And there's ways that we can continue that and go in a better direction. And that's one of the things I think we're talking about tonight. So one of the things that you had said we talked about too, so there's all these empty spaces, right? So you drive down Atlantic Avenue and you drive into Pineapple Grove and you see people that there's been nobody in these locations for 5 years, 4 years, 6 years, 3 years, and they're an eyesore. So how do we deal with that? So somebody at the table Hillary brought up the fact that maybe it's not because they're choosing to be empty. Maybe it's because they're waiting on a CO or they're waiting on a permit and they can't get a renter in there because they're stuck waiting. So we have to find out, okay, so are you not renting to anybody because you're just sitting back and kicking back and maybe you own it and you don't need the money? and you're just waiting for the right person to come along, it's not serving the town at all. So I think after 90 days, maybe we implement a fee. So it's an encouragement to sort of get it rented to the next person so that you're not looking at an empty space. So after a certain amount of time, there is a fee that's involved, and then that fee goes toward taxes or it goes toward whatever to help the city. And it's an encouragement not to do that. If it is the fact that you can't get a permit, we need guidance. These people need help to know how to get it moving so that they're not sitting around waiting with an empty space for a long time. If it's a situation that can't be avoided, or it's a situation that is beyond the two scenarios that I just said, then maybe they allow for a pop-up where it's a temporary business that goes in there so that it's not staying empty and something is there, or an art installation or something. Right. Okay, so that's one of the elements. Number two, and by the way, we could have made this list 70 pages long. We just didn't have enough time. So we talked about a big chain, national chain retailers coming into town. Well, now, there's two ways to look at that, right? So if you're a fancy town like East Hampton and you have, Chanel coming in or something that's going to drive very expensive traffic, and then they're going to go and have dinner at a very nice restaurant, maybe that's not a bad thing. But if it's not going to drive that kind of traffic, maybe we limit the amount of big national chains that can be in the town and say, hey, maybe no more than 10% of the downtown district can be a big national chain. And that's something that maybe is food for thought to talk about. Right? Especially if it's not going to serve the town well. Right? So another thing that we've been talking about is sort of the kind of the derogatoriness that maybe these smoke shops, the vape shops, have when you're driving through the town and you're looking at vape shops and you're kind of thinking, who are we? Right? And do we really want that as, sort of what's being seen on the avenue? So maybe the rule is we don't allow them at all. And if that's an argument and there's going to be a lot of pushback, maybe we say, okay, we'll allow them. But we'll only allow 2 in the whole district, and they cannot be on a high traffic street. So absolutely not on Atlantic Avenue. Absolutely not in Pineapple Grove. Absolutely not in anywhere where there's high traffic. So there can be 2, but they have to be off on a side street where there's not too many people walking. Or none at all. Something like that. Next thing is... Okay, so beautification, right? So we're talking a lot about beautification. So we have a lot of the Historical Society at this table. So there's lots of thoughts about all of that. So one of the things is, do we keep cars on Atlantic Avenue? Do we not? Do we make it pedestrian? Do we at least, leave the cars on the avenue, but don't let people park on the avenue? Right? And then widen the sidewalks. And then talk about doing things like bike lane and bike stations. Bike stations helps with transportation. So let's say you park way off the Ave and you are working in a restaurant and you need to be able to park in an area where we allocate it to be either free or this or that, or there's not a shuttle or something. Maybe there's a bike station where you pick up a bike, but you can return the bike at another bike station that's closer to where the restaurant is that you're working. Maybe that's something that we can do. And then obviously all of the things that we see in a lot of these beautiful towns as we go around the country, right? They have these gorgeous planters. They have landscaping. They're uniform. Every so often you see them. There is green space. There's beautiful lighting, consistent, beautiful lighting. We have different districts and we have different personalities. So maybe Atlantic Avenue is one kind of personality till you get to the beach. And then maybe the beach is a different personality. You get into the arts district and that's a different personality. So maybe each of these areas have their own sort of design element that's approved by a design committee with feedback, of course, from the community, where you have certain kinds of lanterns, you have certain kinds of wall sconces, certain kinds of beautiful handles on the door fronts. You've got signage rules and regulations so that it's not anything goes. Now, granted, we don't have any neon signs or digital blinking signs, but there's also nothing that stops anybody from doing that. So in anticipation that really, right now, I don't know that there's a rule. I don't know yet. Maybe there is, and I don't know about it.
There's a rule.
Is there a rule? Okay. So thank God there's a rule. So, but my point is that maybe if we implement some of these sort of aesthetically beautiful guidelines, not so much as a restriction or to say to people you can't do this or that, but sort of an encouragement to say, hey, we've come up with some great ideas that might help you as a restaurant or a boutique or this, and these are sort of loose guidelines for us to kind of follow to make sure that it stays very, very beautiful and it pertains to the district that you're in. So clearly, in an arts district, it'd be much looser, much funkier, a little bit more bohemian, a little bit more artistic. There, I can't read my own handwriting. How terrible is that? So art installations, right? I don't know if we already do this, but having certain art installations in certain areas is like a marketing opportunity, right? So you have big businesses that like to contribute to the town. They can afford to contribute to the town. So maybe we want to put something up like a green park or an art installation, but we don't necessarily have the money. So we partner with one of these big business people that are local, and then we dedicate a beautiful plaque or a bench or something that markets their name and their contribution, but they've paid for it, right? So it helps us. And then revisit the historic overlay discussion, which is very important to this table. And so, and how it can help and benefit, how it can create another reason that people are visiting the town, in addition to shopping and dining and all of those things. So I have to look at what that historic overlay discussion was, because I'm not really familiar with it. Hillary, you want to touch on that? Would you like to touch on that? Hold on one second.
Yes, we started out wanting a historic district, recommending that to the city, and that people thought that was too strict. Okay, so our Mayor Carney came up with the idea of a historic overlay, which is much looser. It doesn't have as many rules as a historic district, but it does have some control to keep the beautiful charm that we have on Atlantic Avenue. We're waiting to see that from Mayor Carney, so we hope we see it soon.
And the one last thing that I meant to put in with the wider sidewalks and the beautiful lighting, sconces and all those things is the power washing. So we have late night parties, right? Everybody's partying in Delray. I myself am there most Friday and Saturday nights out at restaurants, sometimes at, Johnny Boy and all of that. And you see people, a little bit tipsy, maybe getting sick on the sidewalk. Not things we want to look at, but we definitely want it clean. And I don't know, not everybody at the table felt that it was maybe being cleaned often enough. So I think that we need to make sure that that's spotless as part of the clean program. And we would have more, but need another 15 minutes.
Yes, so. Excellent. I think those little pieces of paper are bigger on your table. No, good job. That's amazing. And I do... I'm just going to do on those black spots on the sidewalk, that's gum. So don't spit out your gum, people. Please don't spit out your gum.
Hello? Hi. It's always great coming last in these type of things where everyone's already said anything. And this table is very impressive. Not that our table wasn't great, but they covered a lot of ground that we were talking about. The biggest thing that came from our group was about the permitting, which a couple of people that brought up that issue. But having experience in real estate and with some of the restaurants, the new restaurants coming, it's not 4 to 6 months. It sometimes takes 18 months for a restaurant going, and they're paying rent sometimes for a full year prior to opening. And it makes it prohibitive, and it makes it more interesting to go to Lake Worth or to Boca, where the permitting is much more lax. Now, there's a history to this that probably many people in this room know more than I, which is that in the 80s, when the avenue was supposedly very decrepit and dangerous and a lot of empty storefronts and things, that the town literally changed their permitting in order to bolster and to enhance the avenue. And the avenue that we have now, historically, is from that era of a looser permitting process. I believe, and our group believed here, that a better permitting process would have a big impact on cost, on viability. All of these companies, we're talking about big chain stores coming in. Only people that can afford, that have deep pockets, can actually afford the startup of a venture in Delray Beach. And that's going to have a long-term impact, and it's something that we actually have control over because the permitting department, I don't know them, I'm not an expert in that area, but there's a lot of leeway in terms of policy in which they can make changes and actually impact the town. So that is probably the single biggest issue that we discussed, other than that we'd like to see, I think, but also the who are they called? The safety group. What is that called?
The ambassadors.
What is it? Clean and Safety Group. That we've seen them. They're in the golf courts, but their presence isn't as notable, perhaps is the right way to say it, that they could actually be helping people across the street, be part of safety at nighttime, which we know there's certain areas of town that are less trafficked and more vulnerable to crime. But so that's another thing. And then the last thing was what? Oh, you said one other good thing. All right, that's enough.
All right, we have two more tables left. Great.
Hi, Judy Malika. I'll stand up here so my back is not to anyone. Ours is public safety, and one of the biggest complaints are cars speeding through the neighborhoods, exacerbated, unfortunately, by the wayfinding signs that were put up to help people find their way. They found their way through neighborhoods going very, very fast. And this has been a problem for people in neighborhoods. Also, we identified, especially at night and early in the morning, our feeling of safety east of the bridge and at the beach, especially at the beach. There's people sleeping there, there's people waking up there, people lost their phone there, they're there with their suitcase. Another problem we've seen is electric bikes and golf carts. Electric bikes they're in gangs usually, and they're like going off the sidewalks into the road. I don't know if they're in the road or in the sidewalks, but they're everywhere. And that's sort of a hazard to pedestrians. They're not following the rules, and they're kind of running rampant. And also, we've seen and heard trunk parties loitering in store parking lots, particularly in the Northwest, where you hear the boom, 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 which I happen to like that music, but not at 3 a.m. So our solutions are more police. And I know we're losing some of our police officers, but all of these are sort of policing issues. Yes. And I think that the yellow shirts kind of help with that as well, but more police. And there's also mention, I think you mentioned public art. You wouldn't think public art would make a difference, but I think public art in like the parking areas does kind of give people more of a, I'm going to be more gentle to my city sort of feeling. Yeah. So those are our solutions. Awesome. And drive slower.
Those are great.
One more.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lynn Alloy. I'm a resident here in Delray about 7 years now, and I love it here, and I love the DDA. So we also were safety, and one of the issues that is particularly important to me is riding a bike. And when I first moved here just 7 years ago, I rode my bike every day to the beach, anytime, back and forth, down Atlantic Avenue, wasn't afraid of anything, and it has completely changed. Now I have 2 bikes in my garage, I never use them, I'm petrified. So I know I filled out a survey, I think it was a couple years ago, about bike safety and walking safety and what we would like to see, and I never saw anything what came from that, like to the specificity of like, do you want poles, do you want bike lanes, all that, and took the time to fill it out and never heard anything about it, so I would love to see that brought up again. I think it's really important for our town. Now I drive to the beach and have to find parking and all that. So I would love to see something happen with that. I know it's a challenge because of the traffic, and it all comes back to the overcrowding. We have a lot of people here who want to be here, and that's great, but it's had an impact on our special town. Walking safety as well, especially on the weekends, especially in season. I think more policing, I think our safety ambassadors to help with that would be fantastic. And yes, there's a lot of younger adults here enjoying their time on the weekends, and it gets a little crazy, and there's no room to walk, and there's cars everywhere, and tons of traffic. And, with the new building going up, I don't know what is in the works for parking for that, and the added traffic that we're going to see here. I think it's just going to get harder and harder. So would like to see some more support with the traffic, especially on weekends and evenings. Another thing that was brought up by our museum people here is that there's no convenient parking for employees. They have to pay for parking. It is back to a parking situation, but even at night, they have to go to a lot, I guess that's over on Swinton, you said, that's not lit up at night. And one of the solutions that they've come across, since there is insufficient lighting, is that they've been using the safety ambassadors and really appreciate that. And I didn't even realize that's really accessible to anybody. There's a number you can call, so maybe it's more education about that, because I've been alone at night walking home in Pineapple Grove and never knew that was an option for me. And maybe it's restricted time frames, I don't know, but that would be a really nice thing to get the word out if it is available. And then, I think that's kind of... homelessness in front of businesses and in front of the museum has been a deterrent, they feel, for some people coming in there. I'm not sure how to resolve that issue. And parking for employees, for businesses. If there's a way they can have free parking, or I like the idea of the electric bikes, but then, again, we can run into safety of how to ride a bike here. Without getting killed. So that's kind of where we are. It's a lot of challenges, but thank you for bringing us in together to try to come up with some good ideas.
Thank you, Lynn.
Door's on, always the last word.
I would just like to add a comment. This is what makes Delray a good town, having meetings like this, asking for public input. Good work.
Thank you.
Thanks, George.
And also, while I'm making compliments, I'd like to make sure everybody's aware that the city commissions, the city staff, the DDA, all of these organizations are looking into problems like this. We've been looking into traffic problems, parking problems, all this, and I think it's all going to come to fruition. Looking very hard, but this helps keep everybody on their toes. Historic conservation area, very, very important. I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to take up this time. But we do have, I heard on this table, and I heard it again about the national chains moving in. What's going to happen to the character of Delray? What's happening here? Are you going to come in and you're going to see a brand ice cream shop? You already know what else is down the street, but it's even becoming more and more important to try to save this historic atmosphere here. That's going to be key also to the future. Thank you.
Thank you. So does anyone else have comments or concerns they want to bring up? Hold on. Your microphone.
Do I need it? Yeah. A couple of years ago, is Marjorie still here? I don't know if she is, but I was working with Marjorie Waldo. We really wanted to put murals in the downtown garage, and there are studies that say it reduces vandalism because, as Judy touched on, people take pride in something that looks beautiful, and if something's already ugly, they're like, Yeah. So I don't know, I still really want to do it. I hope we find a way. Thank you.
Let's do it.
Oh.
Great. Taylor or Eric?
Darren and Eric. Right
Eric?
here.
I want to just take a moment to show some appreciation. I mean, I'm incredibly thankful. I'm a business owner here in the city, and Delray is an amazing place. The DDA, the CRA, the Chamber has all done an amazing job. I think that all the problems that all of us are experiencing are only going to continue to grow. The city is growing. It's going to continue to grow. The DDA has done an amazing job with the downtown district. That district is going to grow. development's happening west very quickly. It's happening east. It's happening north. So, I want to make sure that everybody in this room steps up and make sure that they speak out for the DDA, for the CRA, because the budget issues in the city, everybody knows about. It's continuing to happen. They're putting heat on every program here. The DDA is so important. It's so important to me personally. I own a small restaurant on the west. Like, they're a voice for me. They're somebody I look up to, and I appreciate. So, I know there's commission members here and there's people here that they understand how important these organizations are, and that we continue to support them, and are just thankful.
Thank you, Ed.
First, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much. You guys are absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. More of a public safety thing. We've noticed over the years on our walkways, the tree roots are actually growing. We've kind of reached out to the city. We've also taken matters into our own hands, and we've gotten answers for both. Like, sometimes it's our problem. Sometimes we do get the city involved. What would be the best possible way for us to move forward? Because it is getting really bad where it is starting to affect the safety of people walking, especially in Pineapple Grove, and it also affects our tables and makes everything lopsided and stuff like that. So I just want to know what would be the best possible way to go about that.
Okay. Well, we have the person here that's taking notes to address that. So that is in the 100 block of, it's actually the whole 2nd Avenue, I think it's happening. But primarily, I think you're speaking of right around the Rose's Daughter area. Third as well. So I think it's just those growth of those trees. It's happening on Atlantic Avenue too. So it's really bringing that back up. What are we going to do for the next 20 years? Because is it replacing the trees, fixing the tree roots, the grates? There's a lot of that goes back to beautification. We've got broken mulch and old mulch and things that need to be fixed. But those we see that, but it's getting to the right people, and things can happen. The city does have a city app that you can download, and you can report problems by that app. So if a paver is broken or it's a trip hazard, take a picture of it, report it, and it will go into the cycle of repairs or attention to make something happen. It is effective, so make sure you do that. The app is...
Yeah, it's the My Delray Beach app. And you can actually take a picture, report the problem, and you can follow the problem along as it goes through the process. So it really is a great app for everyone to download. Not only can you report any kind of issues, but you can also check real-time parking. So there is a parking feature on there where it will show you all of the public lots in downtown and the number of spaces available in each of those lots. It is a very good tool. As you all know, the city has been putting in sensors in all of the parking lots, and so now they're able to tell you how many spots are available as you're coming into downtown. So the My Delray Beach app is a very good app for all of you to have, residents, business owners.
Awesome. I would just like to add, I've been here long enough that I remember when you could roll a bowling ball down Atlantic Avenue and not hit anything. And what brought the city back were all the small businesses that came in, not the large chains. They didn't want anything to do with us. We were too small to whatever. And I would really like to see some sort of incentivizing for the mom and pop businesses that are trying to start, maybe tax breaks or something. I understand that the buildings are owned and the landlord's got to make money. I totally get that. But if we make it so expensive that these small businesses can't come in, why would you come to Delray if you can go to Chanel? Have you been to Palm Beach lately? Have you seen what Worth Avenue looks like? A lot of vacant stores. And if I can go to the mall, not pay for parking, and walk around in the air conditioning, why would I come to Delray? I came to Delray because there's that specific little store that I just love, and I can only get it in Delray.
I was going to say just one thing. One of the people at our table brought up something about the bicycles, but I want to just say something back to you. I'm a small business in this town, and for almost a decade I had a resort wear store that I designed. I designed the clothing, and then also had other small, unique designers like myself in my store, and totally missed the days of it being almost entirely mom and pop shops. I was just making a point about big chains, and it kind of also depends on the chain that it is, because sometimes it can drive, doesn't really do much for the town, and sometimes it can drive other stuff to the town. So, but in any event, somebody mentioned about the bicycles and said, well, it's kind of not so great if it's the kind of bicycles where you can kind of like grab one and then you don't have to return it. The only thing I was suggesting was there are those bike stations where you have to put a credit card in, and then they have your information, and you have to return the bike to another bike station or they charge you for the whole bicycle. So it's an incentive to take it and return it to another station wherever it is that you're going. So that was the only sort of bike thing we were recommending.
Right over there. Table.
Hi. One thing that I wanted to bring up was the crosswalks around the circles. They're positioned incorrectly, so it guides pedestrians right into the traffic of the circle because the pavers go that way. And people that are visiting, aren't aware, they're just following the pavers. So that's a hazard and a safety issue for, our community and for people that are visiting. If they could put landscape, take those pavers off where it directs them right into traffic and just put landscape there so they go right to the crosswalk rather because they wouldn't be able to go there with the landscape or something like that.
Awesome. Thank you. And then Lori has a...
Oh, thank you both, and thanks for this forum, and echoed what was said. But the point that was brought up about lighting and the use of it and the different tones and textures of different areas, I thought was a fantastic idea because, like looking at Paris, I mean, the personality and just resonates, and it really sets the tone. And I really do think, I was driving in, I live off of Swinton Avenue and coming off of 95 at like 2 a.m. I thought the lighting that you guys do is so spectacular, and it reduces crime quite a bit. So if we could expand the lighting canopy around town, would be a good benefit. And also, I'm a big proponent of a really unique water feature. I was at Rosemary Square up in West Palm, and I was having dinner, and I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. And it looked like a relatively low price point for a high impact, especially we were talking about kids and activities. Like, let them splash in the thing. I thought it would be a great central point.
That's been on our list for Old School Square for a while. Put a big water feature where the Christmas tree goes, and it's gone, and we just put the water feature there. So, and then we have Victoria. Then over here, Lori's had her hand up.
Regarding the permitting backlog, one idea that we had when I was on a appointed city committee was to have an expediter there, one or two, when you walk in the door of planning and zoning, who will help you, who'll look at your plans, for instance, say you're missing this and this, and then help you get it and get the thing moving. And that was never done, so I'd like to bring it up again. 1 or 2 expediters who are out there to help people to expedite. And other cities have this, and it works.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, Lori, right here.
Thank you. My name is Lori J. Duran. I'm a native of Delray Beach. One other event I forgot to mention, which I think is a great asset for Delray Beach, is the Fashion Week, because it does promote the mom and pop shops, and it's also an activity that activates our great lawn on the Old School Square campus. So I did want to go ahead and mention that, and I think that the DDA does a good job with executing the different special events that are held in the DDA district, because it does increase awareness and it brings people to the area. So I did want to mention the Fashion Week because it propels our mom and pop businesses, and also the fact that we do have local fashion designers in Delray Beach who have shops as well. We have Amanda Perna. We also have Amanda Johnson as well, and she does home interiors in addition to fashion design also. Okay. Oh, very good. Another fashion
She's
designer.
She's wearing one of DeBilson's creations.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lori. Thanks, Lori. Right back here.
Hi, I'm Leslie, and I'm a resident here. And I've noticed that there's an awful lot of very deafening noise from motorcycles and souped-up trucks and other vehicles that parade along Atlantic Avenue. I've been out eating at restaurants in the outdoor areas, and we've had to stop talking when they have to stop at lights.
Or
and
you
so on.
jump.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I don't know how this can be remedied, but maybe more policing. I'm sure that the noise that's coming from these vehicles is above the level that's the allowable level, So just wanted to mention that. I don't know what can be done or who to talk to about it.
All right, let's do one more, and then we're going to wrap it up. I know everyone.
Hi, I'm Bob Doris. Along the lines of the noise and the safety, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but there's a lot of kids out now on bikes in the middle of the street. I'm talking 12 to 14 years old. Down by the bridge, somebody's going to get killed down. It's pretty bad. We've been seeing them like they're doing donuts and stuff like that, but right over the edge of the bridge, and they're wearing noise-canceling headphones, and there's cars coming over the bridge real fast. So you might want to get a handle on that before somebody gets hurt. Other things. Oh, on the app is great. I'm reporting stuff all the time.
And does stuff get fixed pretty quickly?
What's that?
Do you stuff gets fixed pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, definitely, and they've gotten back with me. There was a couple of things, I can't remember what they were, but the categories are very defined, and there was some things I had trouble reporting because there was no other. So you might want to get an other category in there.
Jeff is shaking his head. Or nodding, I should say.
Something on there's a whole lot of empty businesses here, and we've noticed that a lot of businesses open up and close down. I've talked to a lot of those business owners, like when they open and when they close, and my experience has been that they don't know how to market their business. So maybe having marketing classes for the business, you could kill a lot of birds with one stone. Monthly, have a marketing class, have a marketing expert or something come in, just brainstorm ideas for their particular businesses instead of thinking that every small business owner is going to go out and learn how to do this on their own. They're not, right? And sometimes the reasons that they go out of business are pretty obvious. They're just not doing what they need to do to get customers. They just don't know how. So marketing classes, free marketing classes for them might be worthwhile. And one other thing, the reason my wife and I moved here years ago was because of all the festivals and everything. And somebody mentioned something about the New Year's Eve festival first night, which was awesome. But those are there's a fair amount of events here, but they tend to be very much the same every time, right? Quality of entertainment, lots of times we're seeing the same acts. Whereas when we first came here, we were seeing entertainment that was coming up from Miami, good bands and everything. So it really drove us. We literally moved here for that. And it seems like it's more of a high-end dining experience now than the culture and the entertainment that it was back then. So if there could be a push to do that, maybe allow more pop-up entertainment, pop-up musicians or whatever, or let them buy licenses they can perform in the street or something like that. But just that type of thing where there's a bigger variety, maybe a bigger variety of types of events, different festivals, different themes, rather than just art and jazz every time. So just maybe getting more of that, more variety of it.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Any further comments? Laura, do you have anything else?
I just want to say thank you. Well, thank you, everybody. This has been amazing. And really appreciate the feedback. We've gotten lots of notes that we're going to compile. Again, we have our meeting on Monday, and then again, we'll be at the City Commission on Tuesday. But please, you have our information, you have our cards. Please email us if you think of something later. Please don't be shy. And thank you all for coming. Have a great night. Thank you to Suzanne and team, and my team too. Thank you all for your help.